So you recorded that beat?
No, no, no.
Ah, okay. I said, let's start again.
You ready?
Studio. Oh, actually, not studio.
7890.
7890. I love this song.
Could you pop on YouTube so we can take messages?
Say again?
Can you pop on YouTube so we can take messages?
Okay.
You first. First bag.
All right, Lagos, here we are. Gone past 7:30 in the morning. It is time for Freshly Pressed for Hump of the Week Wednesday. This is Smooth Breakfast with Kaide Baker.
And Shopper Martins. Good morning, Lagos. Of course, if you just joined the show, you're just in time because Freshly Press 9 at 1 is where we have detailed analysis of stories making headlines in the dailies. And we have, of course, our analyst here leading us through the conversation. This morning, we've got Devo Corey. Good morning, Devo.
Good morning, Lagos. Morning, Shopper. Mr. Baker. Lakunle Eku. Election 23 loading.
Nice. And also, good morning, Lakule.
Good morning, Shopway. Good morning, Kaudi. Good morning, Divo. Good morning, Lagos.
Good
It's
morning,
here again.
Nigeria. Good morning, world. I love the good mornings. It's a very positive start to the show. All right, and of course, good morning to you up on youtube.com/smooth981fm. Make sure you send your messages in on the live stream so we can get your thoughts on the articles that we are going to cover this morning. You can also send WhatsApp messages in to 0809 440 981. Okay, so we're going to start off with this first article coming in from the Punch newspaper. This always has a place in the headline. Subsidy. Yes, mobilized for protest, NLC directs affiliates and CSOs. Now, that's the Nigeria Labour Congress, which has directed its members, affiliate unions, and civil society partners to prepare for the planned January 27th and February 1st nationwide protests against the proposed removal of fuel subsidy by the federal government. Now, this was the highlight of the meeting with leaders of civil society organizations presided over by the NLC president, Ayuba Waba, at the Labor House in Abuja on Tuesday. Now, he said, we have been asked to go and mobilize our members across the country ahead of the planned protest for January 27th. So that is a date that I'm guessing we'll all be looking at. So let's get your thoughts on this, Devo.
Yeah, so we're waiting for this because the federal government had foretold that there would be an increase in the pump price come February, March. And this is based on the fact that they cannot cope with the subsidies or what do you call them? Recoveries, under recovery that's taking place within the oil and gas sector, especially with the downstream importation of fuel. Now, with the naira going south and oil price going up, literally, we cannot sustain 165 at the pump, right? And there is no extra fund to be able to buffer this. So, yes, there was a subsidy. It's funny because we went through 8 years of first denial, and then they finally agreed onto NNPC itself was the one crying out and saying that 120 billion per month, we can't continue like this. However, NLC has said that yes, they were still going to go ahead with their strike action with all their affiliates. And you know, in those days, if NLC did put their Voltron activity together, it would literally cripple the nation and send a strong message to the government at large. However, we need to take a look at this history because beyond the economics of how the new pump price is going to obviously put a domino effect on goods and services, food, what do you call it, transportation. The NLC is still in conversation with the federal government. They've been on at the table for almost a year now, and they've still not been able to come out with a position. But what I know and what is sure is that the federal government does not have this money. Therefore, there's no going back here. So literally, how effective is this strike going to be? Is
No.
there anything that the federal government can do, not to avert the strike, to actually avert the fears? Because a strike is an indicator that we're not communicating or that we're not okay, we're not in agreement with the way forward. And my grouse is the integrity of strikes that we used to have before. I remember almost 15 years ago, in the days of Adams or Shomole, anytime they would say, oh, we're going on strike, people literally start stocking up food in their
Because it
baskets.
could last for days.
Yes,
and then
it
there
could
would be
last
long
for days,
conversations.
and there was a real push out there to actually send a message out to government. Now, during the Jonathan years, I think stomach infrastructure found its way into the hands of even those who were organizing strikes, and before we knew it, many people literally did lose their trust in the NLC and a lot of the bodies that represent their unions. So my issue is this: what is truly the fiscal direction of government? And because we know that the pump price is going to change, is there a way that, okay, fine, it's going to get bad for a while, but with time, things will get better? That is what is not clear. I always say people resist what they don't understand. So is there any point going into a strike just to end up and then we still have the pump price and we still don't know where to go? These are the questions we need to ask. A lot of monthly gentlemen have been coming out since yesterday that they want to lead the nation. How many of them have the solution to Nigeria's economic woes and new pump prices?
Now
at their
it's quite interesting
fingertips?
because this leads has tentacles reaching into so many different
Yes.
strands of our daily life, and we've already seen what inflation has been doing. It will be interesting to see what happens with those numbers after this comes
I mean, it's
out.
almost double the rate, because
So-
from 165 to about 300, 350. You can just imagine what transport would be. You can imagine what food prices. You can imagine what services like school fees. I mean, it's
And
so
we remember what happened when the price jumped up into the triple digits.
yes.
So that is, we'll be taking your thoughts on that. 0809 444 981. That's the number for WhatsApp, and of course youtube.com/smooth981FM Lagos to leave a message on the live stream.
Let's talk about the next story. This one comes to you, Lakome. It's from the Punch newspaper. It says, those enforcing sit-at-home are criminals. Prosecute them. And this is from IPOB. Now, just to put a background to this, the indigenous people of Biafra has urged governors in the Southeast and citizens to apprehend and deal decisively with criminals enforcing sit-at-home in the region by prosecuting them. Now, IPOB, they're saying that they've, put a stop to this. They've suspended the sit-at-home order since September 2021. But some people are still enforcing that. What do you make of the story?
Schizophrenia.
I think that however it is, IPOB will primarily carry the blame for what is on ground.
Okay, because they said the ball released.
They were the ones who set this in motion in the first instance, and possibly then they don't have control over these things, and then it's possibly gone into the wrong hands as they claim now. Right. Having said that, it is now a situation of trading blames. It's your fault, it's my fault, you are responsible. Now they've shifted the ball to the government, say, find these people, excuse me, and prosecute them. Now, having said that, did you notice that over the Christmas holidays period, there were no reports of shootings, suspension, sit at home on Mondays, and all that? Then is that telling us something that like IPOB says that this is sponsored by some people? Yeah.
So part of their statement also says that.
Yeah, I'm going to get to that point. So the part of the statement that catches my attention, I think they're in 2 or 3 parts, said that the first one we've said that they said they suspended the sit-at-home since September 2021. Then the second part is that now we want to inform our people to stand firm in the fight for their liberty. IPOB did not ask anybody to enforce sit-at-home of any kind. Henceforth, the ESN operatives, that's the Eastern Security Network, which is their the security arm of IPOB, that is, will come from the bushes and forest and go after these criminals, unleashing mayhem. The criminals unleashing mayhem on innocent people and visitors to Biafra land in the name of enforcing the non-existent Monday sit-at-home order. The second bit now is we equally call on our people and members of the public to skin alive any idiot caught and the rest of it. Now, why I highlighted those two paragraphs here is that now you say you're not the one. You ask the government
To
to
prosecute and go
to,
after the
to
people
go
that are
after
causing
and
this problem.
prosecute. Yet you have a security arm that is possibly armed. You are saying they should come out of the bushes to go after the same people. How does that add up?
So are you saying that?
Then you
so,
then also say that people should do jungle justice, catch skin alive. I mean, so people will, while I understand the point of that last one, yeah, but people will may literally take that statement to mean what is said on the literal surface, catch skin alive. So you are also encouraging some form of unruly and that can unruly behaviors that will cause chaos. So I think that IPOB need to be careful. There's already this perception among a lot of people on the government side. Government has already declared them a terrorist organization,
yes.
as it were. People, even the people in the eastern region themselves, don't as much as trust them, because you cannot say you want to liberate people and create this amount of fear in
So here's
people.
what I want to ask you. In this regard, now that they're making this kind of statement, what should the government themselves do? Because you yourself mentioned now that the government has labeled them as a terrorist organization. Should they be allowed to even come out to make statements like this in the first place? And then how should the government tackle the situation in the long run? Because they've talked about the fact that some people have been shooting in Enugu, and they're saying that it's not their people. However, how can the government decisively deal with this situation permanently?
It goes back to what we have always said at this table. We need to improve our security architecture. However, we need to do it. What we've been doing for the past 60 years obviously isn't working. We don't have enough men in the Nigerian police. We don't. So the military is overstretched. Name one state in Nigeria today that the military is not doing one operation or the other. You will hardly find any. The military is supposed to be defending the national integrity of Nigeria against external enemies, not internal. That is strictly the police's job. But the police is underwhelmed, under-equipped, understaffed. All these things come together. So we need to go back. We cannot handle these things if the police is not equipped to properly do their job.
All right.
So that is the point of this issue. It's the job of the government, yes, to make us feel secured in Nigeria. Yes. How? Police. Our police,
Just
are they up
improve
to the
police-
job?
the security network. In one word,
Exactly.
that's what you're trying to say.
Yes.
All right. Thank you very much for that.
Messages coming in on WhatsApp. Nick from Papa says, whenever I hear that the government doesn't have money, it annoys me. Have you been in a government house before? Do you know the colossal waste that happens there? The stealing that goes on there? Let them start from reducing their allowances. How much is budgeted for newspapers? Who reads them, by the way? He says on Freshly Pressed.
Yes, he has a point in terms of the appearance of avarice in front government positions.
We've
but the
got
truth
more
is,
messages.
Yeah.
Let's go on. EK Peter says those enforcing the sit-at-home order could well be IPOB members. Those condemning them are also IPOB members. The problem is that there's no proper chain of command and operations. Got this one in from who is this? Gary Newton, who says this IPOB story is like that of NSARS. I don't trust the government on the shooting that IPOB is against. We've got more. Who says?
Nedu comes in.
Nedu says, luckily, commend them when they say the right things. You're just struggling. I think he's trying to say, to see where you will commend them. Talking about IPOB. All right, more messages on 0809440981. Well, let's take another news article coming in from the Punch newspaper. Unvaccinated workers and visitors will be barred from office from January 17th. This is according to the Federal Capital Territory Administration, which said that civil servants without proof of vaccination or a negative coronavirus test results done within 72 hours will not be allowed to enter their offices as from Monday, next Monday. Now, this comes out of the federal government through the National Primary Healthcare Development Agency, asked state governors to enact and enforce vaccination mandates for local and state government workers. So, this is a pretty decisive move. DeVoe, what's your take on this?
Well, vaccine mandates, will they work? I think it's not the first time the National Primary Healthcare Development Agency is in a way trying to do its work. However, I would have asked them to have thought through the blanket policy because um, the FG attempted this on the 1st of December last year by saying workers without double shots wouldn't enter. And what happened? They were able to enforce it in like a week or two, and then it fizzled out. Edo State started it, the same thing happened. Ondo tried it, Kaduna tried it. Now, the problem is this. Yes, I understand the federal government in a way trying to drive vaccination, but they're
Because DeVoe, you have to admit, vaccine uptake within the country has not been.
yes, I wanted to give the figures, and I said a few factors have to be in place. Currently, NCDC's position is that double vaccination is at 4%,
Okay.
and that's in approximately 50 million Nigerian people. So we've not done beyond 5 to 10 million, not even up
Do
to
you
that.
think that as opposed to being enforced, as opposed to trying to enforce this, there should be some type of incentive?
No,
as
that's
opposed
what I'm
to-
saying. Those factors need to be in place before you even arrive at a mandate.
Okay.
Then one dosage is at 10%. So we've not even scratched the surface, and you're already enforcing. How does that work? You have put the cart in front of the horse. Now, what are the issues at hand? First of all, there needs to be vaccine availability. Nigerian government plus state governments, both federal and state, have refused to buy vaccines. Okay, there's no budget for it. They're not planning on it. We're waiting for charity that God will help us through the magnanimity, even the shamefulness of receiving from a Greece that was into its own
Recession.
recession and came out of it. We're collecting another 1 million with them. So if you go out and look for it, it's not everywhere you look for it, which is the next step, which is vaccine accessibility. Fine, when you make them available, can people freely go to the local public healthcare center around them, or even the private sector? Lagos attempted that with a fee of 6.5. I mean, if you're talking about vaccine availability globally, there's no charge put on anything.
Okay.
Now, governments must carry this burden because you're trying to get people to take it on because of all the issues that they have. Now, what is coming against this? What is making it difficult for government to arrive at this
But
position?
can the government afford it? That's another question because you said there's no budget for
Well,
this.
that's my point. So didn't they put all this into place before they started discussing budgets? Secondly, I'm coming. Secondly, vaccine resistance. There's currently a resistance from people generally not to take the vaccine because it's like, well, in other areas of our social welfare, you haven't been as pushy. In this area, you're pushing. Why? Maybe there's some politics. They don't trust it. Vaccine apathy. People are tired of all the restrictions that have been placed on them with this COVID period. And that leads me to we need to review this strategy. We don't have to copy and paste whatever takes place in the world. Let's say it. We're not dying the way they're dying. That's the truth. So take a look at your numbers. We're not in
Our
2022.
numbers are saying we're not dying the way they're.
Yes, we have a bit more information
Let's look
on
at our numbers.
on COVID. As regards Omicron, even though it was highly transmissible, when I speak to the numbers, as yet, NCDC put this January, only 38 people died from the Omicron virus. That is against 300 people that died from Lassa fever, with about 4,000 cases, over against the number of people dying from yellow fever, malaria, cholera, etc. and co. So should our real attention be on the pandemic that's not really affecting us? Two, if I flip it, Nigeria actually has one of the highest recovery rates, meaning literally we're going through what they call a reverse herd immunity. Everybody literally has caught it and has recovered. So let's get the real facts out there and stop running around like headless chickens wondering what is happening when nothing is happening.
At the end of the day, DeVoe, you bring in
I'm just
other.
being frank about this.
Wow. Okay. Thank you for your time and conversation,
to leave
which
now.
is a two-way street. But all right.
Okay, yes.
Coming in from you, because the conversation also belongs to you, Lagos, Nigeria, and the
Right.
world. Remember, people, take a break, take a pause. Let someone chime in. IPOB, says Christian from Lekki, does not have the moral justification to call the activities of those enforcing the sit-at-home order as illegal. When that's IPOB, gave the order at first, it was illegal. It's like a thief calling another thief a thief.
good.
Okay, that's
Here's another one
interesting.
from Shion. Shion comes in to say, cart before the horse. That sounds like a Wednesday in Nigeria. No vaccines available, but mandate everyone to get vaccinated. Okay, we see where you're going with that one.
D from Alausa says there are vaccines in public health centers nationwide. I took mine and they are well organized. Your analyst is totally off point.
Ask more people.
But actually, people are saying yes. There are some places that people will say, "Oh, I don't have access to vaccines."
There are
Let me
many
finish.
more places.
Let me
Okay,
finish.
okay.
Thank you. Thank you. In the places where vaccines are available and accessible, what is going on? How is uptake there? Did you speak to that? That's something that we also need to speak to. Lenin says, or rather, Paul says, with regards to the iPod issue, it is important that we go back to how they evolved in the first place. Injustice caused this, and if we continue to avoid the root cause and allow unbalanced narratives to prevail, we are looking at an IRA situation
Eventually.
eventually.
Two wrongs does not make a right.
Barcelona has wanted to leave Spain for decades. Are they also terrorists? Asks Paul. And
Uh,
more messages coming in.
but I think we should jump into the next story.
We got this one in.
But I think we should jump into the next story.
We got this one in. Emeka from Ikeja says, Devo, demand drives supply. There is no need in buying vaccines when there is apathy towards taking the vaccine. I repeat again, give them my number. Oh, yes, I remember you, Emeka from Ikeja.
All right, thank you so much, Mecca. Let's get to this day newspaper. This one says Buhari approves establishment of Diaspora Investment Trust Fund. So President Muhammadu Buhari has okayed the establishment of the Nigerian Diaspora Investment Trust Fund. It's a private sector investment window for Nigerians in diaspora to support direct investment in the country. So what does this mean? If it supports direct investment in the country, are we getting more money? I mean, what is this whole trust fund? What does it stand for? What does it mean?
The idea, in my opinion, government has always wanted, every government since 1999 has made getting Nigerians, people of Nigerian descent all over the world to come back home and invest some of their monies here.
Yeah.
So I think that this is just the high point of that drive to date. That NIDCOM is championing this. Okay, so if it's a private led investment trust fund, I don't then see the reason why you need the okay of the president in this. All is just is probably what he probably said was it's good thing that this private led investment thing is happening. So maybe it's not an okay to mean I give you permission to start. You understand? So that may be what it is. But this the part of the story that is gladdening to me is that we need to keep putting out there that to help Nigeria to help us to remind people that for every one bad Nigerian you catch, there are about 1,000 more who are good, are hardworking, are excelling in what they are doing. This compendium, it says it has 327 pages,
Yes.
celebrating about 600 Nigerians in various fields all over the world who are excelling. So I think that while we think about those ones who are caught in Malaysia, in Saudi Arabia, in South Africa for various other things that are not exciting, let us also speak to those who are doing exciting things. The Nigerian who is in NASA, the one who plays the ones who play basketball all over the place, and so on and so on. So there are so many reasons to celebrate Nigerians.
Do you think that with all that's happening now, with insecurity, the election around the corner, do you think that it's something that's sustainable?
Look, people made money during the World War.
Okay.
People made money during the Nigerian Civil War. So the excuse that because security this, security that the money should not come, I probably don't buy into that exactly. Yes, those concerns are there, but it doesn't then mean that you cannot invest in such places. People are investing in Ukraine today. Ukraine, we know the problem Ukraine has with Russia.
Yes.
Exactly. So, I mean, while we understand that bit exists, we can't discount it, but it does not then mean that investments should stop.
All right. Thank you very much for that, Lakali. got a
Oh my
message
goodness.
from
So many of you are coming in with your messages up on WhatsApp, and you are, a number of you are saying, I agree with Devo. I know we got this one in from Millennium who says 1000% even. While Danny K says, Devo, thank you for that analysis. Saying that the numbers are there and we don't have to copy and enforce from other countries. We got this message in up on youtube.com/smooth981 Smooth 91 FM Lagos, where Ikichi says, vaccines are expiring in our stock. The problem isn't availability, but apathy. That's why the government feels it needs to go to the people to vaccinate. All right. Okay. Keep on sending those messages in. If we don't take them now, well, actually, we don't
have to
take them now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So from the Vanguard newspaper, federal government spends 152 billion naira on digitization. This is according to the Minister of Communications and Digital Economy, Professor Pantami, who disclosed this yesterday at the closing of the 2021 Service-wide Capacity Building Program on e-government at the e-government training center in Abuja. Now, according to the minister, the figure represents a quantum leap from the 9 billion naira spent in 2019 and 2020, but is it a quantum leap in digitization and in service?
Good question. It reminds me of my neighbor long ago. He was in primary six. He was a smart boy with a lot of comedy. Now, instead of scoring last, he actually, out of 50 people, he scored 48. So when he got home, while his brother scored first, he came home and told his dad, Dad, I beat 2 people. So you see, this minister, literally, there's no quantum leap here. You moved from 9 billion to about 152 billion. But let's put it in proper context. You see, digitization affects all ministries, departments, and agencies.
By the way, can I say, he said it was a quantum leap in the spending that they had done.
Yeah, no, you asked the question. You said in digitization, are we really going far?
I just wanted to make sure that it was
now,
separate.
Out of 120 MDAs, ministries, departments, and agencies, 150 billion for 5 agencies is a far cry. Okay, what I would have expected him to say, okay, we are on the road and we're gathering momentum. One, secondly, efficiency. Okay, so let's put digitization in proper context. Efficiency is a factor of one, your operations, which the federal government is very poor at. Sorry, not the federal government, ministries, departments, and agencies. That's literally the civil service is poor at. And then secondly, application of technology, which is where this digitization comes in, so that to a large extent, some of the manual processes that we have been going through in many of the things that we apply for, it would be accelerated. And just a quick example is, remember JAM registration those days, you have to go to the bank, fill papers, blah, blah, blah. Now you do everything online.
Yeah.
JAM that used to make nothing, all of a sudden is making almost in excess of 10 billion.
Okay. Thank you very much for that. Real quick, though, let's jump to this story. This one's from the Guardian newspaper. Well, you know what? Take that
Dairy?
back. Let's talk about the dairy part.
Yes,
Okay,
let's
so
talk about milk, man.
Okay, so that's
And other
another very
dairy
interesting stories. So the federal government's to unveil new dairy policy to reduce importation, and this from this day newspaper, and they're saying they want to increase local production and enhance marketing in the country. But what do you make of this?
I think it's something that we need to take very serious, and I think that somehow a few states have taken some steps in that direction. Ekiti is doing some wonderful things with the Ikun Dairy, their partnership with I think it's Friesland Campina. There's another one, Friesland Campina is doing somewhere between Ibadan and Abeokuta. I had seen that one recently. Massive lands that they've got all that there. The story itself is that 60% of our dairy consumption is imported.
Okay.
Now, the World Health Organization says that on the average, an individual should consume about 210 liters of milk a year. Now, the Nigerian average is just 8 liters.
Okay.
Yeah, the Nigerian average is 8 liters. So that means that we are actually undernourished. Don't let us even talk about us, the adults. Imagine that with our children.
But, hold on, though. I would have to just put this out there that, Africans, Asians, lactose intolerance is a thing amongst the...
But this is World Health Organization's data.
Are they talking about Africans or just
absolutely,
the world in general?
They said the world. Yes, the average in the world should be 210 liters per individual.
Average in Africans and Asians. Let's talk about that.
The average in Africa, the average in the African average of consumption is 40 liters per individual. Nigeria's average is 8 a year.
Okay.
So it tells us that let's assume that the average consumption for Africans is 40 and Nigeria is at 8. It's still a far cry from what it should be. There is two things, because one, our importation capacity is not even taking care of the need. Two, our production capacity locally is not taking care of the need. Our local cattle can only do 2 liters per day, 2 liters of milk per day. So these are the things that what the Ecuador dairy thing is doing. They've imported breeds from all over the place, from Holland and I think from Australia. So maybe a mix, a crossbreeding of those ones with our local cows and all that would help. So this policy that they are talking about should be able to factor all these things together so that we can arrive at something that can, in the nearest future, raise our national average from 8 to maybe 15. And then we can then start looking forward to other things. I know Ekiti, Kaduna, and so on are doing stuff.
Yeah.
Oh wow! Now this is such an interesting story, but we don't have the time to cover it any further. However, do remember you can always leave your messages on the different social media platforms and get talking about it. Hashtag Freshly Pressed 981. Okay, coming up we have got Lagos Talks. Stick with us right here on Smooth. Oh, I